all of a sudden, I found myself thinking sociologically when I was at a drive-thru, right? I was at a Wendy's drive-thru, right? When I'm at a drive-thru, usually I like to listen to music, or if I'm with somebody, talk to them, right? Or just listen to music, like that, right? But when I'm in a drive-thru, right? Like, especially if I'm by myself, just there, right? I see people on the drive-thru. If there's a line, right? Like, if there's a wait, if there's no wait at the drive-thru, then we just go, right? I'm just more focused on my order, right? And then we move on, right? So, but when it's a little, when it's a wait, like a small little wait, right? And there's a little line, right? When there's a little line, um, I just sit there, listen to music, and then I look and see at the other cars. I see them, and I'm like, what are they thinking, right? Because I'm just sitting there listening to music. Are they doing the same thing? Are they frustrated? Are they, like, they're hungry most likely, right? But, like, mentally, you feel me? What is their mental state? You feel me? There was once at a Wendy's drive-thru. It was a little line, right? And it was with a little wait as well. So then I was just there, right? I was just sitting there, and then I saw a car come from behind me, right? He was in line, but he was behind me. And after like a minute, or after like a couple seconds of waiting, right? He was waiting a couple seconds, a couple minute, right? Like a minute, 2 minutes at most, right? So a minute, a couple seconds, right? Whatever. So he was waiting, right? So he was the person behind me. No car came before him, right? So no car was behind him. So he's, from the whole line, he's the one who's been waiting the least, right? So he just backed up and left, right? But so that just had me thinking. I was like, so was he frustrated? Was he frustrated? Is that why he left? Was the wait too long? Did he start craving something else, right? Did he realize, like, oh, I don't got my wallet, or something like that, right? Who knows? So then that had me thinking, what do the people in front of me want to leave? What if the people in front of me want to leave? What if somebody who's in front of me wants to leave, but they can't because they have a car in front and a car behind? What if they're frustrated because they've been waiting longer? Now, I'm not frustrated. I'm just there, right? It's my decision, to go into the line, right? I'm going to get what I want, and just like that, right? So I'm not frustrated, right? Are the other people the same way, like me, not frustrated? Or are they like the person behind me? If that person was frustrated, so I'm saying, are the people in front of me frustrated as well? Or are they just there? Or, what's their thought process, right? So, the line moves, right? And the car in front of me is ordering, right? And I had my window down, right? So I was able to hear the order. I was able to hear the order, right? And I heard him order. He sounded normal. He did not sound frustrated or nothing. He was just like, oh, can I get this, normally, with a normal voice. I was like, okay, so he's not frustrated at all, right? So was that just that one car? How many people get frustrated? Was any other car in front of him frustrated? The worker, he sounded normal as well from the speaker. You feel me? If the person, if you work fast food and you deal with, rude customers, or right, you're gonna start being like annoyed, right? So then you start answering the other people like, oh, how can I help you? Like with like a annoyed tone, right? With like a more different tone, right? Which obviously isn't okay, right? Because you shouldn't be treating other people differently just because of how you feel. You shouldn't be treating customers differently, right? Because the customers are there to support the business, the company, right? That store. Because without the people coming in, that store doesn't have hours or money to give out to the employees. You feel me? So they're either gonna close down, they're gonna have to start laying people off, right? Because they don't got enough labor, right? So, and if there's not enough labor, or if sales still don't continue to rise, then they're gonna shut down the store, right? It's gonna, at some point it's gonna come to that, right? So yeah, but still, so it was my turn right there. He took my order normal, right? I was there, boom. I was there, and then I'm on my way to the window now, right? Then I see the dude in front of me. He's talking to the worker. He was talking to the worker, and I was just thinking, because he gave him his card, so I was like, normal. And then I saw him wave his hands later on, and then I saw the worker, stick his head out the window. And I was like, is this some kind of a conflict, right? Is some kind of conflict going on in front of me? Or do they know each other? Are they just talking, having a normal conversation, And, the worker gave the dude his card back, and he got his food, and he moved on. So I guess everything was normal, right? So then it was me up next. He charges me, gives me my food, and that's it. So I guess everything was normal. It was just a normal conversation, and like that. He, with that person, had that normal conversation, but with me, he just gave me my food, and that's it. So he just got finished having a little conversation, and then he just moved on from having a little conversation from one person, and then starts charging another person, right? So he has a different mindset, for the different people, right? So, or he has different experiences with the different people, So he's like already experienced, I guess, in that sense, right? But yeah, like during a drive-through, if I'm just there, right? That's what I'd be thinking. Like, what is this person thinking? Is he frustrated? Like, what's going on, right? There's some people start honking at each other, right? So, sometimes it's more dramatic, right? They get out their car, or, or some people actually start yelling, actually be frustrated, or, something like that, right? But I feel like another time where I do be thinking sociologically, right? A time where I do feel like it was when I worked at Cane's. When I used to work at Cane's, over there, communication is key, right? Communication is required. You have to have communication. Communication over there is required. When you see, like, over there, like me, normally, I'm not a person who's gonna start a conversation, right? I'm just there. Like, I'm like a quiet person, right? It's just who I am, how I am, right? But over there, you have to be loud. You have to, make sure all the workers hear you, right? If you don't got no chicken, like, I don't got no chicken. Or if you see two, like, if you see two people walking in, you're like, oh, we got two people walking in. So then the person who's dropping chicken, he'll be like, okay, so there are two people walking in, and there's three people on drive-thru. Do I need to drop more chicken? Just for the whole kitchen can be in the same page. So over there at Cane's, it was a very hard on the communication, right? So there are a lot of interactions, right? So like, oh, how many people do we have in the dining? Like, oh, we got two, right? So there's a little conversation there, a little interaction, right? Interactions, But I was just wondering, like, is everybody like in my shoes, basically, right? Where they're really not conversationalists, but because they're at Cane's and because it's a job and they're required to communicate, do they talk at the because of that, or are they usually loud, or outspoken? Like, are they the type of people who start the conversation, who talk normally, on like no on a talk normally in like a daily basis, like, as in, do they usually have conversations normally with people, you know, who they don't know, who they just met, you know, like that, right? Or is everybody like that? Was everybody like that at that store? That's just what I was thinking. I was just thinking like, oh, how is this person outside of work? Does this person talk? Is he talkative, or does he keep to himself like me? Or, you know, what kind of person is this person, right? Like, socially, right? And, you know, I noticed, so some of those people are like me, where they're just quiet and talk when spoken to, you know, type stuff like that, right? And other people are, you know, more talkative, more jokesters, you know, like that, right? Where they talk to the other people, trying to make them laugh. But yeah, that's just, this is the end of the video, right? But yeah, that's just, so sometimes where I actually caught myself thinking like sociologically, right? You know, about like the other people socially, right? Like, what kind of person is this person? What kind of way is this person thinking? Like, is the interaction a conflict? Is it just a normal conversation? You know, just like that, right? Obviously, it can be in other situations as well, right? But I feel like that's that's where it stands out the most at a job, or like where it's with people, right? And I couldn't see the people, so I couldn't really get like a good focus on them, right? They're in their car, right, and the drive-through. I can't really see them, right? So yeah, and like that, and I'm in the truck right now. So yeah, and yeah.